One face centered. Face centered. Speech off.
Hold on, Lola. Do you hear my puppy? Do you hear my puppy?
I heard something. It sounded like a kid. So.
Say, yep, these are my kiddos. Say, I'm Lola, and I'm a mommy baby. I'm a miniature chihuahua. And then I got Charles, and he's the king of the house. He's a spaniel.
What kind of dog is that?
He's a spaniel. It's a
Okay, spaniels are not terriers, so only the chihuahua is the terrier.
Is the what is it? Only the chihuahua is the what?
The chihuahua is the terrorist. Yeah.
No, they're very sweet as pie, actually. But I wanted to hear what you said. So you said it's been the most challenging dating women from Florida.
Oh yeah, no, it's just a simple fact of just the social narratives that are pushed here and stuff like that. There's again, it doesn't matter whether the girl is a younger girl or an older woman, or someone who's divorced, someone who has kids, someone who doesn't have kids. At some point, there's a part where they fuck, I guess, and I think it's just the area, and whether it's, I would assume that the same mentality would be if you're from Atlanta or Houston. I think it's just the area that we live in, or the market that I'm in. It's just different, like you can live here and be from New York and not more or less have the same sort of, ideology. But if you grew up here, you went to high school here, junior high, all that stuff, I don't know. It's just like some sort of pack mentality, I guess, and the guys are no different. If you're, born and raised here, there's just like, I don't know. It's just like, it bothers me sometimes. But when I was earlier, because I came back here in 2012. So I used to always run into a lot of people who would say that I'm different, especially coming from black women, that they were like, you're so different, or I'm a square because, I had not assimilated to the local culture or vernacular of this area. And even though I, was introduced to South Florida when I was like 15 years old, there are things about Florida that I hold dearly, that I identify with, especially in my, teen years and stuff. But, when it comes to mating practices, I'm just kind of different, it's because I grew up elsewhere. I mean, I grew up not only did I grow up in Boston, I lived in Kenya for like 4 years. So, it's...
But what is it? But get into it. Like, what is it? You're saying women born and raised in Florida. You said something about City Girl. What is that?
Yeah. Well, basically, like, do you know the City Girl?
Do I know a City Girl?
No, the actual group City Girl?
Oh, okay, yeah. Sure, I've heard of them. I don't know them.
That's pretty much like, in other words, who gonna check me, boo? That type of mentality. So, that's what I run into a lot. Like the contentious sort of behavior. Especially when there's conflict, there really isn't any opportunity for resolution. It's like it's their way or the highway type of thing. It's interesting to me. I'm still open. It's just something that I've noticed. So it's like, okay, I'm always looking to, I guess, counter that sort of, that narrative. It just hasn't happened yet. But I don't believe all women are like that. It's just the women that I've met, whether it's out in public, at an event, at the supermarket, gas station, or on a dating app. At some point, sometimes it doesn't come out like right away. On the dating app, it comes out right away. But if I just meet you organically, it may come out like maybe a week or two later. And I used to just sort of capitulate a little bit when I was in my should I say, late 30s and stuff. But nowadays I don't. Nowadays I just accept it like, okay, this is how she thinks. Let me not, you know what I mean? Let me not sit here thinking that, there's going to be something more or different. If this is what I see, I can just bring it up and see if there's a course correction. And, there's no sense in me trying to bring up something or harp on something over and over again. I'm just like, okay, she's not where, I'm at, and sometimes I don't mind saying it to the girl myself. Like, look, I may not be, able to serve you in the way you see in your mind because that's not how I think. And, I just would rather we end things on a amicable sort of, place as opposed to waiting until we start hurtling insults at each other.
So, do you consider yourself like a Kenyan American, a Black American male? Like, what do you consider yourself?
Yeah, I would say it's a pretty much an aggregate of all, because I did grow up in Kenya, but I live here. I've also experienced the same things as most Black men and boys have experienced and continue to experience. I see myself, and when it comes to how I think about policy and stuff, I think of it from an American standpoint. When I look at cultural, of course, I look at it from my Kenyan background.
Do you date Kenyan women?
I'm sorry?
Do you date Kenyan women?
Yeah, if they lived here, I would. But I date any African woman. But more importantly, I would date any Black woman. Doesn't matter.
No, have you though?
Yes, I have. But not in Florida when I lived in Boston.
So you just haven't come across. So do you feel like it's a fair statement to just say you haven't come across your match yet?
Well, I haven't. But I would also say that the women that I've had actually paired with, that have been in long-term relationships, they were great relationships for those purposes. It's just that what we wanted, our outcomes were just not aligned at the time. So like I said, I wanted children. They weren't ready. And then the ones now that want children, they're leading with that, even if they don't purposely say that. But it comes out at some point, because I like to talk, I like to hear what people are thinking, what are your expectations, and not your expectations in life, just where you're at, as far as even on an online dating app, because conversations can get dry off of dating apps. I mean, you can message, like prior to, I just recently, the app is now limiting the messaging back and forth. I think that's just something new this month, right? But I would say prior to this month, if you had a profile on this dating app or any other dating app, your inbox as a woman would be bombarded with all types of guys. Even if you have Instagram, the whole thing. I mean, that's not really what happens to a lot of guys unless you're in the top 2%. But for the most part, it's like you have there's just plenty, there's only so much time in a day for you to engage in your love life or to,
and you said,
entertain them. Go ahead.
And you said, what app is this? You said it's limiting your messaging now? What is it?
This app, Plenty of Fish, that you can't just message women. You can't just, you know what I mean? Like, you have to match with them first. Prior to that, if I saw your profile, I could send you a message. I could hit the like thing on it, right, or swipe right. But I could also send you a message like, hey, how you doing, da-da-da. It's just to stand out from the pack. Now, they don't allow that anymore. Now they give you just one. You can say hi to one woman in a 24-hour period.
Do you have a membership?
No.
Because that's what they're trying to get everybody to do.
Yeah, so beforehand, again, and every app, they control what, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to Plenty of Fish, it's nothing that I really take serious, but I always just say, look, you got to participate, you know what I mean? If you want to win it, you got to be in the game. So, I have the profile on Plenty of Fish just so that, because not everybody's everywhere, like I used to be on Hinge. Hinge was dry as hell, even though Hinge is advertised as this more discerning sort of online dating app. That's not my take on it. Now, if I was in New York or Boston or LA or, like a bigger market, yes, I would see how Hinge would be a more valuable dating app. But and you know, and I talk to my friends and family members and stuff around, you know, especially up north, and I'm like, look, what's your take on this? Because people they ask me like, you should get on Hinge, you should get on Hinge. I'm like, well, I did get on there.
Okay.
But it's not for this market. It's just not the same results, and I understand that. So, but you know, I guess Plenty of Fish is getting better at, you know, like you said, pushing the memberships. That's a good move for the app in general, you know. So hopefully it works. Hopefully, you know, and hopefully it clears out a lot of the working girls that are on the profile, because there's a lot of working girls on, you know, women on the app here in Miami and here in Fort Lauderdale.
What is working girls?
Professional sex workers, stuff like that, you know. Yeah.
How long have you been doing online dating?
I've participated on and off in online dating for the last, I'd say, when did I move? Ever since I moved down in 2012. And I've been able to.
You said since 2012?
Yeah, and I've been able to form great relationships on apps and off apps. Like, I'm an equal opportunist. It's like not every woman I'm going to see them out. I don't go out as much as I used to. Mm-hmm. Well, I should say I don't go out at all now. But I still would go if there's like a Afrobeats event or something like that, you know. I would go, or like some sort of like cool, like food related festival or something like that. I would do that too, time permitting. But like going out like Sundays and going to brunch or going to Sunday Funday down by the beach and whatnot, I don't do that anymore. So my opportunities to interact with women these days is at a gas station, at the supermarket, you know, when I'm randomly walking along the beach. I got a dog too, so sometimes we go down to the beach. You know, he seems to be a chick magnet, so I have a conversation. You know, great.
You said you used to be a chick magnet.
I don't use him as a chick magnet. I'm just saying he is one.
Who?
My dog.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Cane Corso.
What is that? That's a small dog or a large dog or what?
No, it's an Italian Mastiff, otherwise known as the Italian Mastiff.
Oh my gosh, what color is he?
He's a blue brindle.
Oh, okay, go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, so, you know, and I'm happy. I'm pretty happy, but like I said, it's like having an online dating app, that's not my primary choice, but I just like to have it. It's like being a diversified portfolio, because my match can come from anywhere. And I do know that women are using online dating apps more than just, you know, being out there, especially during this pandemic. A lot of things, people have changed how they operate. So, and you, for instance, you're new to this area, so it's not like you're going to have a circle of friends who would, you know what I mean, recommend you. Now, you might take a yoga class, you might do something where you'll have access to men, but you're still relatively new. So, you know, getting online is probably a smart way to sort of expand or expedite your opportunities to, you know, comparable matches.
Yeah. How tall are you? How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
You said 5'10"?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good height. So you have really, you know, pondered a lot.
You know, you gotta learn, right? If you don't learn, you just sort of just out there, you're never gonna get, you know, great expectations.
So
yes.
Out of everything, like at this time, because you say you've been out your relationship since December. At this time, are you just basically looking for friendship, just somebody to hang out with? Like, what would you like?
Oh no, right now it's pretty much to date. Potentially, I mean, the overall outcome is that I would like is a long-term relationship. However, I am definitely dating no different than I dated before I was in relationships with the other women. I'm still going to date and, you know, do activities, stuff like that, get to know the woman. I'm not saying to myself that, okay, this is going to be forever, but I'm a little more open to connections that I would otherwise probably have frowned upon, you know. So that's why I'm being careful when I say I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking first to date. In the course of dating a woman, if it turns into something serious, that's ultimately that would be my goal, but I am not putting that tag or requirement on any woman. If you find that, you know what, I'm better, I serve you better casually, so be it, as long as I understand and know. I'm a willing participant. I don't like being involved with someone if their ulterior motive is not what was on their profile or what we've talked about, because one thing I've learned, women change their mind. So if for some reason you see things differently, or if I see something different, I like to just bring it up. I'm like, hey, look, it's a temperature check. How do you feel about this? Is it okay? Everything great? Or are you looking for something more? Okay, all right. Let's talk about it. Okay. I mean, I have a shop. I still work for my old employer sometimes. Thankfully not this weekend, but every once in a while they call me up and I fill in, I help them out. And that's kind of how I just sort of stay out of trouble, because an idle mind is the devil's playground. And I'm happy to say that I don't really find the need to get in the car and drive myself down to Miami Beach so that I could, enjoy the sights and sounds. I'm perfectly fine at home or going up north somewhere in Boca, go to a jazz club. Now, I miss the live music. Now I'm seeing a lot of live music venues starting to pop up, so that's something I'm excited to get back into.
Yes,
so, yeah,
definitely. Tell me about that. Now, what is dating for you? What's comfortable for you? What is dating?
I actually in a way, dating. I think it's just like what everybody else is saying. Like you're going out, you're hanging out, you're doing stuff together. Obviously, there's intimacy involved. I would say that as far as frequency, right now for me, a couple, like 2 days, 2 nights, 2 days or 2 nights, or otherwise a week is pretty much as most as I can commit to. I'm not looking for anyone to move in with me. I'm perfectly fine living on my own. Hopefully the woman I'm with is also perfectly fine living on her own. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at about, I would want to be intimate with that woman at least once a week, if not twice.
That's a part of your dating. That's a part of your dating, getting to know each other.
Yeah, but we're talking about dating. We're not talking about,
Courting.
moving in, full-time girlfriend type of situation. It's definitely very experimental for me. When I'm dating someone, it's opportunity to experience, to do, to experiment, to see what you like doing, what I like doing. I'm speaking about outside of intimacy. I'd like to, do activities that you like. I want to share stuff that I like, see if you like to do them as well. I'm big on Eventbrite events. If I see something random on there, it could be some sort of noir film exhibit or something, an art walk, stuff like that, or an opportunity to check out a dive bar or a little mom and pop hole in the wall seafood restaurant somewhere in Timbuktu. I'll do that. Pancakes are my thing, so I do drive for pancakes. Yeah. So that's pretty much, I think the way I see dating, I don't think it's any different than anyone else. But I think when I look at dating now, especially in the market that I live in, I'm okay with the woman not necessarily looking to rush into anything. If you're dating me and you're telling me that, you're just kind of seeing what's out there yourself, I accept that. Until you say something different where, look, I want to date you exclusive, then I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I don't get it. It doesn't ruffle my feathers as it used to in my 30s. I just understand it now. But 10 years ago...
So let me ask you this.
Wait a minute.
I want to direct... Okay, the next question, I want you to answer me like you're 5 years old, okay? And you can have whatever you want and not be neutral, okay? Try your hardest. Right
I didn't know I
now,
was being neutral, but okay.
right now, dating for you looks like what, as far as you would like to be dating one person that wants to date you exclusively, and you all build something as far as friendship, bond into something more in a long term, or you're just going with the flow and who knows.
I would say, and again, if you're telling me to be in the 5 year, I'm in the middle. Like, I want long term. That is my goal,
Okay.
is long term. I approach everything as long term.
Okay.
What I told you before is I understand. In my market, I mean, it'll be no different if you lived in LA or New York. It's just, I just understand it. I can tell you, look, I want to date you exclusively,
Right.
and I want to build.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not been my experience. So instead of me being jaded about it, I just accept it. So I just like, look, I'm not going to rush any woman. If she wants to date me exclusively, great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with her. If for some reason she's not sure, well, let's speak about you specifically. If you are not sure, you just moved here, and I'm just going by, again, my experience. The women who just moved here, still trying to get your bearings, your footings, whatnot, figure out, first get yourself settled. You've only been here for a couple of months, so you're not even acclimated quite yet, but you're gonna learn real quick by July. But you're figuring out what your social networks are gonna be like and everything, and you're in Aventura, so you're gonna have access. I live in Coral Springs. It's a family town. Nothing really is happening over here, and I'm a guy too. So it's I'm just a realist. Let me just put it like that. I'm just a realist. I would like exclusivity.
Okay.
I don't demand that of a woman. Mm-hmm. If you want, just be real. That's all. If you're telling me like, okay, look, I just want to casually date, just like you said about a 5-year-old. Let me know what you're free, how you're, what you're prepared for, and I can adjust. I just don't like going through something with someone where I'm the only one who's being upfront about my expectations,
right,
while the lady is more or less unsure, but she kind of likes me and she feels like she don't want to hurt my feelings. No, I'm a big boy. So I really try to let ladies know, look, if you're not, okay, if you want to just sort of like, because I'm a good guy or whatever, hell, I'm not even offended if a woman tells me that I'm a placeholder. Fine, because I'm choosing to engage. If I say, you know what, that's not for me, then, there's no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But it's like we're both adults at the end of the day. And I can approach it in either way. But ultimately, I like consistency. I mean, I'm freaking 45 years old. Sooner or later, I'll be 50.
Right. Preach on that.
So, I mean, I'm not saying I'm out of my prime. I'm just saying, like, juggling a business in an economic downturn is a hell in itself.
Right.
I used to have 2 employees. Now it's just me.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm just, like, I dealt with the fact of, and this is what I said about the once or twice, whether it's 2 nights, 2 days, or just 1 and 1, or just 1. Whatever it turns out to be, I mean, my shop is a priority.
Right.
So, it's that's interfered with some relationships as well. But at least I'm not like, I never tell a woman like, hey, look, I'm busy. I'm going to tell you, hey, I own a shop, I own a business. I think it's on my profile as well. Okay. It's like I'm not working from home. I got to wake up and take my ass to West Palm Beach.
How far is that for you?
West Palm Beach is 45. My shop is 45 minutes north of me.
Okay.
If you're in Aventura, you're like 40 minutes from me. So Aventura to West Palm Beach is a solid hour. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's your commute.
So what's your expectation? Because you asked me, and now I'd like to,
Okay, sure.
redirect.
I was just going to ask, what stopped you from living in West Palm Beach?
Oh, the shop it was accosting. My shop used to be in Fort Lauderdale. So I was an auto body, prior to the pandemic with a partner. We just couldn't sort of see things the right way in 2020.
Okay.
So the business started to fail. It started costing me more money than it needed to be to operate. And a lot of it was because of choices and decisions that were being made outside of my knowledge. So he was basically stealing from me. Not physically stealing, but just the way business was being run. He was basically stealing from me.
Wow.
So when I looked to find another shop in 2020, we couldn't, my realtor couldn't find a place where that I could afford. So everything was like $5 grand a month, which was even more than our shop space at the auto buy. But I was looking to just more or less do restaurants, so classic car restorations. And I just couldn't find a shop until he found me a place in West Palm Beach. So that was the only reason why I was in West Palm. It was the cost. So I pay like $3,200 for a space that would cost me about $5 grand in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, but you prefer living where you're living?
Coral Springs is a beautiful city. I mean, it's in between everything. Fort Lauderdale, like if I want to go to Toronto, Boston, or whatever, California, Kenya, I got 3 airports that have access within an hour of each other.
Right. Preach on that. Yes, that's true.
But ideally, no lie, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I really said when I sold my house, I really wanted to live east in Dania Beach, or worst case scenario in Pompano Beach. I wanted to be east of the 95 because I'm like, I'm single. You know what I mean? I want to be, the beach to be like 15 minutes from my house. I want to be able to be up in the midst of the action and stuff. Not in boring ass Coral Springs, but the demand for real estate.
What do you think about Hallandale Beach?
Hallandale Beach is great. It's just there's a lot of Russians and the cost.
A lot of what? It's a lot
the
of
real estate values have skyrocketed.
Wait, you said
I don't see any value.
It's a lot of what?
There's a lot of Russians that live in Hallandale Beach.
Oh, okay. It's okay. So wow.
And so Hallandale Beach is not an issue. It's just because of the pandemic, the rental costs, the property values, everything has just shot so far up. So that's why none of those places that I wanted to live, it was just like, screw it, I'll just stay in Coral Springs.
Okay. And where'd you sell your house? Where was your house?
In Coral Springs.
Okay. So you just downsized to make the sacrifice for the shop in West Palm.
Yeah, because I couldn't, and I couldn't find a place that would take my dog.
Oh.
So even where I am, because I'm a homeowner, so I'm like, I haven't rented in since I left Boston in 2012.
Wow.
So, so there was a lot of, not a lot, but there was a couple of really big adjustments I had to make.
Yeah.
I don't have a yard.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to find a place that was close to a dog park or close to my vet, access to the highway, and also that would accept my dog because he's a giant breed, and a lot of places weren't taking the dog.
Yeah, that's
even
real.
Like the company that I rented through, I actually applied for a Dania Beach location that was down right off the Federal Highway in Sheridan, and they basically said that at that time, no one could qualify. They had a place in Coral Springs. They knew that I was, selling my house. And because they didn't have anyone who qualified for the Coral Springs place, they kind of fooled me into just taking Coral Springs. Because it was like a newly renovated apartment. And they said that the unit that I wanted, someone had already put the offer in. And me and my agent, we looked at each other like, what the hell are you talking about? Because once we saw it, I put in the application fee and everything. Because they were going to take my dog. Now, granted, that particular unit was not as good as this one, but it meant what I wanted, which was to be east of the 95. I'm literally like 5 minutes from the airport.
Okay.
I'm close to everything. Plus, there's Russians in Hallandale Beach, but Hollywood has sort of an international market. I am African. There was, at least there's like some Afrobeat stuff that was happening. And I like Hollywood. I like Hollywood, like that little strip of Hollywood and Hollywood Beach, the boardwalk. I like that. And if I wanted to go to Aventura or Sunny Isles or anything like that, it's not that far. I really don't care much to be in like Brickell or Miami.
Okay.
Because I've lived here long enough. But I just saw Dania Beach as being where I wanted to be, and I just couldn't lock in. And even though I knew they were giving me a story, what do? You can't really, it's not like you can sue them because you don't really, you know what I mean? It's not like
Right.
they're not saying we're not renting to you. They're just, because they're giving me another place.
Right.
And I rented this place without even seeing it because it wasn't, technically, what they were saying was that the tenant was not available to confirm a visit.
Okay.
But what was happening was they were actually renovating.
Uh-oh.
They just weren't honest with me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, how are you guys not going to tell me that you don't have to? But either way, it doesn't matter.
Stop recording.